Brandon.
Yes.
We talked about Klaus Schwab.
Yep.
And the World Economic Forum. There was a lady that I think you're going to get into it, and how they're warning in our face. And that, I think, one of the scariest things now, guys, is the evil isn't even trying to hide anymore. They're out in the open. They're out in your face. They're literally laughing in our faces. And Brandon, this one's a World Economic Forum, a female. She warns that the water crisis is going to change the world. Yeah. So what's your...
Yeah, so we're going to play a quick little snippet of it here, and it's crazy if you just listen to the words that she's saying, the way she's saying it.
So preface it. Who is she, Brandon? What is she going to say?
She's one of the board members of the WEF, and they're big on the things like COVID. They're big on the things like climate change. All the narratives that the powers that be like to push. And she's basically saying she's frustrated with how little attention that climate change has gotten, how ineffective they've been with pushing that narrative.
She's saying
there's nothing else to worry about, guys.
She's like,
climate
so
change.
what we really need to do is we need to scare the shit out of people by saying that we're going to run out of water. And then if they're terrified that they won't have any water, then they'll realize that climate change is a problem they need to focus on. We'll be able to spend as much money as we want.
What water as a common good requires is an objective of what we can actually do together. And what's interesting is that when we have objectives, especially during urgent periods, think of what, we just lived through a health pandemic with all these COVID-19 recovery plans, not in all countries, but also war, where all of a sudden money literally comes out of the woodwork after we were told there was no money. Think of Germany, overnight 100 billion, and how it was calculated was that it would be seen as an investment, not a cost, so it didn't actually go into the deficit figures. This is all just kind of accounting and game playing with numbers. We don't do that for some reason with our wicked challenges or societal challenges. We tend to only do that mainly with military-industrial complex kind of problems, but also, as we saw with the health pandemic, when millions of people are dying. So one of the issues is if water is as urgent of a problem as some of the top climate scientists like Johan have been telling us, by the way, for many years, we're just starting to listen now, how do we turn it into an urgent problem, and the numbers are quite astounding. We might come back to some of the other numbers that you talked about this morning, which are quite shocking, but also an intersectoral problem. We shouldn't see water as a sector, but water as a common good means it has to be seen as cross-sectorally, across many different kind of solutions, across sectors as different as nutrition and construction, everything. But also in terms of coming back to the new economic thinking, it means seeing the role of government, which is so important. It's not the only actor, but it's a key actor, as a market co-creator and a market shaper in this system. So the policies themselves need to be framed in terms of shaping and not market fixing, because that's just going to patch up the system. And central to that, and I know Tarman will talk more about it, it really is this kind of getting rid of this public-private divide. This is going to require huge amounts of collaboration, huge amounts of co-investment and finance, and how to actually design that with a common good lens is one of the really innovative things that this group is going to provide.
She's like the military-industrial complex. Big Pharma gets to spend all its money. Why don't we get to spend money for climate change?
This is a joke.
Brandon, just really briefly before, because I know you have a lot to talk about. Just really quick, the World Economic Forum. I know it's elites. It's the Klaus Schwab and all these demons. What is its purpose? What they meet? Where and when is it every year? What's the main goal that they're trying to do?
They're shaping the world. They call themselves world shapers.
You will own nothing and you will be happy.
Government.
But everybody's in there. I'm talking about world leaders are in there. Everybody goes to this
government
thing.
officials are in it. All the Fortune 500 companies, they're in it. They pay to be in it. They pay like a couple $100,000 a year to be part of it.
They meet in Davos.
And then Brandon, these are like the CFR, Council of Foreign Relations, and all these guys that are making global policies. By the way, that we don't have no say in. Who the
100-year-old Kissinger and Soros are there every year like clockwork, telling policy decisions.
By the way, no one. And we'll go through this right now. I saw a video of Lord Rockefeller, the old one.
Yeah.
And he's like this. And by the way,
Mr. Burns.
He speaks, and I'm not joking. He was like this. And listen, it sounded like Satan himself is trying to compels you. But yeah, Brandon, you want to...
The basic things that she says is that, so as you see, we got to spend all this money during COVID. We acted like the world's acting like there wasn't money to spend on these crises, but we found out there was trillions of dollars to spend when COVID came along. Jeez. And the military-industrial complex gets to spend all this money when wars come along. So why is it that we don't get to spend money on our climate change initiative? She's like, it really just comes down to accounting. The money's there, we're just not using it. We just haven't put enough urgency behind it. So we need to get so you'll see these elites, like Larry Fink was saying the same thing this thing the other day. It's like we need to merge private and public money together.
No.
So basically saying government and business, they want to merge it together. They're saying it in this soft way. They're like, we just need the private sector to get on board with the public sector, and then we could put all that money that's being unused towards things like climate change or the water crisis. They're trying to scare the shit out of people to get private and public money to merge. Guys, we're heading for absolute chaos. Listen to this. So 40% of the world's food program's wheat supplies comes from Ukraine. Russia and Ukraine account for 29% of wheat exports, and now Russia's blocking Ukraine from exporting food. Now here's a list of countries that are all stopping their food exports. Argentina, Algeria, Egypt, India, Indonesia, Iran, Kazakhstan, Kosovo, Turkey, Ukraine, Russia, Serbia, Tunisia, and Kuwait. That's why getting survival food is more important than ever. Now you can create your own stockpile of the best-selling 4 Patriot survival kits, and it's not ordinary food. We're talking 25 years of super survival food that's good for. They have different delicious breakfasts, lunches, dinners, and you can make these meals in less than 20 minutes. 4 Patriot Survival offers more than just food. They also offer state-of-the-art generators, portable refrigerators that you don't have to plug in, solar cell phone chargers, solar flashlights, EMP shields, and much more. It's crazy. And now listeners of the Brandon Aceto Show can get a 10% discount on their first order of 4patriots.com by using promo code Let's Go Brandon. Click the link in the description or go to 4patriots.com and use code Let's Go Brandon to start your stockpile today. And they're going to do any crisis they can.
Is it working, Brendan? Is it working?
Look at what happened with COVID. That kind of pushed in ESG, and now, the simplest way to explain ESG is that the biggest holders of people's retirement money get to decide what it gets invested in.
Oh, shit.
The trillions of dollars that sit in investment or retirement accounts get put towards companies that are, playing the game they want them to play. The water thing, yes, right now with the technology that we've allowed to exist, yeah, we have a water shortage, but it's a stupid thing that is totally unnecessary because we have the technology to make it not a problem. So 99% of the water in the world is salt water, and we have a technology called desalination that we could easily put all over the place and actually use
Pump
the
it.
ocean water for our drinking water. But we use 0.6% of the water in the world as our drinking water, the water we do everything with.
Wow.
So
So Brendan, they could create a system that they could just withdraw from the ocean, clean water.
It already exists.
They would never
California
do.
has it. They have a bunch of them, but they shut it down, stopped building new ones.
Weird. Oh,
Yeah.
weird.
But
Yeah.
isn't that a good point that it's innovation and entrepreneurs that solve the problems,
Right.
meaning that you need to give them opportunity in countries to get richer where they can innovate more to solve our problems.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's the solution. But no, the World Economic Forum would say you will own nothing and you will be happy.
be happy.
They actually say that.
They
Yeah.
say